Hi, I'm Papia. In this problem, we have to find all real solutions of this given polynomial equation. Now, notice that this expression to the left side of the equation is a polynomial, and you know how to find all possible rational zeros of this polynomial. And those zeros will be solutions to this equation. So let's start by looking at the leading coefficient and the constant term. So we at least know what are the possible rational zeros of this particular polynomial. Okay, so notice that -5 is the leading coefficient. And the constant term is right here, -2. That's the constant term. Therefore, possible rational solutions are factors of the constant term in the numerator, which is -2, divided by factors of the leading coefficient, which is -5. Okay. What are the factors of -2? It's either plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 2. And what are the factors of -5? They are plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 5. So, let's see what are the possible rational solutions. Well, if you divide plus or minus 1 with plus or minus 1, you get plus minus 1. If you divide 1 with the 5, you get plus or minus 1/5. And the next one will be plus or minus 2 divided by 1, which is 2, and plus or minus 2/5. So there are 8 possible rational zeros and therefore rational solutions. Well, checking all 8 zeros will take a long time. So maybe we don't need to check all of them, but we can actually notice a few facts about this polynomial expression and we can figure out what will be the solutions. So let's at least start checking with one of them. Let's start with +1, say, and see if we get a zero, which means if we get a solution or not. Okay, so let's look at the expression here. We are doing synthetic division. So write down all the coefficients. We get -5, 11, -4, and -2. And let's check if 1 is a zero, which means if 1 is actually a solution. All right, bring down -5. 1 times -5 is -5. -5 plus 11, that's 6. 6 times 1, 6. 6 minus 4, that's +2. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Well, this means remainder is 0, which means 1 is going to be a solution. So x minus 1 is actually a factor of the left-hand side of this equation. All right, now notice further what that means. That means this is the quotient. So you can take your equation -5x cubed plus 11x squared minus 4x minus 2 equals 0. And you can start factoring this left-hand side, and you already know 1 is a solution, so you know x minus 1 will be a factor. Then what will be left? Well, right here, these are the coefficients of the polynomial that will be left here. So constant term, x squared term. So you will have -5x squared plus 6x plus 2. This will be equal to 0. Remember, we want to find all real solutions. And we have one factor which will give us one solution, and the remaining one, this particular factor will give us the other 2 solutions, right? And notice this is a quadratic. this will be a quadratic equation. We can just use the quadratic formula to find the other two real solutions. So we don't have to check all these 8 possibilities. Okay, so let's do that. So we already know x equals 1 will be one of them. And then let's set this quadratic expression equal to 0. Negative 5x squared plus 6x plus 2 equals 0 and solve. So let's use the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b, which is negative 6, plus minus square root of b squared, 36, minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. To know if it's a real solution or not, we have to look inside the square root and we have to find out if we get a positive quantity or not inside the square root. So let's simplify quickly. Inside the square root we have 36 and the negative makes it a positive, and this is 5 times 2, 10, times 4, 40. Of course, this is a positive term, and so we will get real solutions from here. Okay, denominator we have negative 10. So this gives us negative 6 plus or minus square root of 40 plus 36. That's 76 divided by negative 10. All right, so we got all our real solutions of the polynomial equation. One is x equals 1, and then the other two we have right here. One is negative 6 plus square root of 76 over negative 10, and the last one is x equals negative 6 minus square root of 76 over negative 10. And makes sense, right? Look at the polynomial. It has degree 3. So it should have 3 zeros, and therefore we should have 3 solutions, and they're all real. So that's our answer. Thank you.